First responders are focused on a wooded area near the airport. We're still working to find out more about the people on board that plane. Now, we can tell you that our chopper saw some wreckage in the woods in Gloucester County. The Gloucester County Emergency Management calls this a mass casualty incident, and they're asking people to please avoid the area. According to FlightAware, that's a flight tracking website, that plane that went down is a single-engine turboprop plane. The tracker shows the plane took off from Cross Keys and was airborne for just about 4 minutes. Now, Cross Keys Airport on Tuckahoe Road is a privately owned airport and serves many private passenger planes. It's also a very, very popular place for skydiving. They do it all year round. Many of us that play the game of golf play over at a course called Scotland Run, which is very close to Cross Keys Airport. And all year round, we see all kinds of skydivers coming out of planes over the course. And at times, those skydivers would land on the course because the wind has taken them in a different direction. We're still getting information on who was on this plane and what type of plane it was, but the plane crashed just outside of Cross Keys Airport in Williamstown, Gloucester County. We have a crew headed to the scene to get more information for us. But once again, this is the scene you're looking at live over in South Jersey, just outside of the Scotland Run Golf Course in the wooded area outside of Scotland Run Golf Course. A mass presence of people and authorities are there because of reports of a plane, a small Cessna plane that went down in this wooded area. As I mentioned earlier, we don't know for sure if it was one of the skydiving planes or not, or how many people were on board this plane. But we are continuing to watch, and we're going to continue to watch the scene right now from our chopper to see if we can gather any more information. You can see fire trucks are there. We don't see any flames in the woods, but we see fire trucks, we see police cars, we see a massive response to this plane going down within the last hour. Just look at that line right there. I'm not sure how close this is to the airport, but the plane was up for about 4 minutes before reports of it going down. It is still too early in this investigation to find out if there are any casualties, if anyone was hurt, or just what caused it. I'm looking at the conditions right now. It doesn't look like weather could have been a problem, but who's to say? It could have been a mechanical issue, but that plane did come down within the last hour. As I mentioned, we do have a crew headed to the scene to find out exactly what happened. But just take a look at that response. You're looking at a tighter shot now from our chopper of the officials on the scene. I'm trying to judge their body language right now as far as the intensity of the scene. They seem to have things under control as far as the area of where that plane went down. There are the two lead fire engines right there. So we're assuming that the crash is up in this area. Our chopper, I don't believe, has spotted the plane as of yet. I'm looking at this video live just as you are at home. But the call came in about 5:30 from someone in the area about a plane going down. And this is located around the 1500 block of North Tuckahoe Road in Williamstown, New Jersey. Not far from the Commodore Barry Bridge. I'd say maybe about, and 95, maybe about 40 minutes or so east of the Commodore Barry Bridge there in South Jersey. Now, our chopper did find some wreckage in the woods. The Gloucester County Emergency Management calls this a mass casualty incident, and they're asking people, once again, if you're in this area and you're watching us on our stream right now, the officials are on the scene. There's no need to go over and take a look. They are taking care of the situation right now. We don't have much information. We don't know too much at the moment. But the flight tracking website says the plane is a single engine plane, and those types of planes leave this airport quite often, whether they are pleasure trips or whether they are skydiving missions. A lot of people use that for recreational activities. So we're still gathering the information right now, but one thing we do know for sure, that plane has gone down, and it did go down just over an hour ago. On a beautiful day too, as well. So we're not sure, once again, if weather played any kind of a part, but the investigation, of course, will commence immediately. Cross Keys Airport is over there on Tuckahoe Road. That's a privately owned airport. And once again, it serves many private passenger planes. Let's continue to watch. At this moment, it is 6:36, and officials are on the scene. Looks like they've been there for a while as they gather information. I have reports of stretchers being brought in, but we have not seen any from the air as of right now. But we're going to continue to stay on top of this. So let's watch it together. I'm being told now that trauma units are on standby, and we're getting reports again that 5 victims have been transported or taken to Cooper University Hospital. And I've traveled this route quite a bit, and I'm thinking from this area over to Cooper would be a good 30 minutes or so, at least 20, 30 minutes over there. Once again, we have no idea of why that plane went down. The weather looks great. Could have been a mechanical issue, but the bottom line is 5 people have been taken. 5 victims have been taken to Cooper Trauma Center as a result of this crash right now. And there could be more. There could be more victims from what we're being told right now. At one time, and once again, we don't know if it was a skydiving plane, but I have seen at least maybe 10 to 15 people come out of one of those planes when I've been over in that area playing golf and looked up in the sky and just seen the colorful parachutes and the beautiful scene. But this is not a pretty scene right now. We've got a major tragedy on our hand, mass casualties. It sounds like at least 5 victims have been taken over to Cooper University Hospital. A much different scene that I'm used to, and so many of us are used to, that travel that area a lot and look up in the sky. It looks like there's a patient right there being taken away on a gurney with wheels there. The officials were, at the bottom of your screen, the officials were taking that patient to one of the ambulances and fire trucks. They are moving very slowly, very meticulously right now. And Jeremy, you were just handing me some information, would you say? Okay. We mentioned 5 victims going over to Cooper, and now our producers and our crews in the newsroom are telling me there could be more victims being taken to other hospitals in the area, not just Cooper. But we did see at least one person on a gurney on a stretcher being taken away. One person at the head, one person at the end of it, moving very slowly to one of the ambulances. Once again, you are looking live. You're looking live at the scene right now from our chopper, a plane crash just outside of Cross Keys Airport. Small plane goes down just 4 minutes after takeoff. 4 minutes after takeoff. Something obviously went wrong, went terribly wrong. And I'm going to have to look it up, but there have been, over the years, a series of accidents from and out of Cross Keys, a long period of time. But I have seen that. I'm going to look up some more information on that for you right now. But once again, the officials are on the scene. I'm trying to get a close look at our screen right now to see if anyone is on that moving vehicle right there. I can't tell. Maybe you can, but there are many medics on the scene. Fire department is there. The police department is there. As this plane goes down, small plane goes down a little over an hour ago. On what's a beautiful afternoon as we approach the holiday, the 4th of July holiday. And now we have this. We have this to look at and tell you about at home. Yeah, we're looking at the scene right here. That lead vehicle right there does appear to have a person. I want to tell Chopper we don't want to, excuse me, we don't want to get too close, but it looks like we see pink pants and knees bent, and the medics and fire department seem to be attending to that person who is in that vehicle right there. And then you see more officials behind them, maybe about 10-15 yards behind them, with what looks like an empty gurney, but they are following this one right now. Probably to get that person care and take that person to a trauma hospital as well. Once again, looking live at Williamstown, Gloucester County, New Jersey, a plane that's gone down, a small plane. We don't know how many people are on board. This just happened. We don't know obviously what caused that plane to go down, but this is the end result right now. A rescue effort, mass casualties. More than 5 people, at least, that's the word we're getting, have been taken to the hospital. And once again, someone is on that vehicle right now being taken to get medical attention. A meticulous effort, moving very slowly. There's an ambulance there to the left side of your screen, probably coming to pick this person up and attend to them as soon as possible. So we are in the area of the crash scene right now as they take any victims that they can find and get them to get the care that they need. Hey, Jeremy, if you could get me some, we're talking live now. Jeremy, my producer, if you could get me some information about Cross Keys and their history, I appreciate that. September of 2023 was the last crash that was investigated coming out of this airport. So they do have a history. August 2016, another one, and now we have this today. A small plane crashes while leaving Cross Keys Airport. We've been looking at what appears to be one of the victims who could have been on that plane. And I did see some knees moving, so that victim is alive and being tended to at this very moment. Jeremy, go ahead. Back in 1996, we've got a crack crew back in our newsroom looking up this information right now, giving us as much as we can. But the last fatal crash at this airport, coming out of this airport, was back in 1996. And 3 souls were lost during that accident. Right now, we have no reports of fatalities, but we do know at least 5 people have been taken to the hospital, Cooper University Hospital, and other surrounding hospitals as fast as they can. And we're looking live at at least one person on that gurney who's being tended to right now and will probably, I would assume, get in one of the ambulances that you see right there in the center of your screen. But I'm counting 1, 2, at least 3 gurneys and a number of officials on the scene. You see the blue stretcher right there, which is empty right now. It's hard to tell from this vantage point if they are going back to the scene for more or if people have already been dropped off in those gurneys to the many ambulances that you see right now. 1, 2, at least 3 ambulances right there. But we are over the heart of the situation right now. Right now, a small plane has crashed in South Jersey. And what you're looking at on the right is the actual scene. On the left is where the Cross Keys Airport is in relation to the city of Philadelphia. And as I mentioned, I've been over there and a number of friends have been over there quite a few times to either visit people or play golf. We know the area very well. That's about from Center City and over the Walt Whitman or Ben Franklin Bridge. That's about a 25 to 30-minute drive to that area. It is a densely wooded area because, once again, there are a lot of courses in that area. Some communities are also in that area near Fry's Mill Road and such. It's a very active area all year round when it comes to those small planes flying in this general vicinity. Many people that live in that area often look up and see these small planes dropping off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people out of a plane, because that is a wonderful pastime for a lot of people. They love skydiving. I remember talking to one of the skydivers who fell and got up because he was off track, and he was telling us, hey, I love this. I'm going back and going up again. Because a lot of times they'll parachute and they'll go right back to the airport, walk back, dragging the parachute, and get in another plane and go back up. Once again, I'm just telling you from personal experience. We don't know for sure if this was a plane carrying people that were out parachuting on a beautiful evening, a nice evening, a sunny evening. We don't know what happened to the plane, why it went down. Much too early in the investigation. But the bottom line right now is taking care of any and all victims from this plane crash. I have mentioned that it is too early, and I understand we have reached out to the NTSB and the FAA to try to get more information, and we are still waiting to hear what they have to tell us and what they can tell us at this moment. Thank you, Bill. Bill Kelly just gave me some information about, you're looking at a beautiful day right now. The sun is out. You can see the trees, the wooded area, the officials on the scene, a clear shot of what's happening. But Bill just handed me a piece of information that the sun will set tonight at about 8:33 or so. So we've got about an hour and a half or so before this will go into the cover of darkness. I'm sure they are working as quickly as they can and as meticulously as they can to find and help any victims that could have been in that plane. Once again, a small plane. Jeremy, could you give me the type of plane again, please? I believe it was a small Cessna, but I would like to get the official name of the plane. But right now, we are looking live at the officials taking any victims that they have found to the to the ambulances and getting the care that they need. I'm sure many doctors are on the scene trying to help stabilize any victims that they found. Okay, we just know it's a small plane, a Cessna, no official name right now, but those planes usually carry anywhere up to, depending on how many people signed up for a particular jump. Once again, if it was a parachutist plane, anywhere from 5 to 15 people, I would imagine, because I've seen them come out of the plane while over there playing golf. Such a tragic situation right now. Going on in South Jersey at 6:51 on this holiday week. So we're just going to watch. We're going to watch this with you to see if we can obtain any new information just by looking at this video that you are looking at live from our chopper. Now, that looked like, I could be wrong, but we just saw a piece, that looked like it could have been a piece of a wing. I don't know if chopper can hear me, but if you pan up a little bit and maybe over to the left, I guess chopper can't hear me, but this more than likely is the area where that plane went down. Just as we came off of the fire officials that were in the open, we panned back and it looked like what could have been part of a wing. I could be mistaken, but that's what it looked like. You may have seen that with me just a few minutes ago. But this is definitely the area that officials, the paramedics, the fire department, the police officers are going into to try to retrieve as many people as they can. Once again, we don't know how many people were on that plane, but we do know 5 victims were taken over to Cooper University Hospital in Camden, and a few other, 2 or 3 other victims have been taken to different hospitals. Okay, officials are on the scene, and we've been on the scene as well. We're sending a crew over as well to get as much information as we can. You can see a command post, if you want to call it that, right there in the center of your screen, as the rescue efforts continue here in South Jersey. I'm going to step away for right now as we work to get even more information. We're going to keep Chopper 3 live here on our streaming channel as long as we can to get you more pictures of what's going on. Probably will be on our 8 o'clock news on Philly 57, and we'll have it on at 11 o'clock too with the latest information. And there's another victim right there being taken away into Gurney as we look live. We'll have the latest on this crash at 8 o'clock in just over an hour on Philly 57, and once again at 11 on CBS News Philadelphia. I'm UQ Washington. We'll join you a little bit later tonight.
We know this community by heart. CBS News Philadelphia.
Now you can get your CBS Philadelphia news, weather, and live stream all in one place on the CBS News app. Download it free today. A pit stop today at Valley Forge National Park for a Philly cyclist who's riding coast to coast to help lung cancer patients. Health reporter Stephanie Stahl has the story of what's become a family affair.
It's been a long journey.
20-year-old Jack Owens in Valley Forge Park with the bike that's taking him on a 48-day cross-country journey.
As of today, we're over 3,200 miles and well over 100,000 feet of climbing as well.
Wow, how are you feeling?
Feeling good.
He started May 20th in San Francisco and will end in Ocean City, aiming to raise $100,000 for lung cancer patients.
It's something that affects everybody. It's the leading cancer killer among every demographic in every state.
His grandmother died from lung cancer. That inspired a charity called Ride Hard, Breathe Easy, started by her son, John Matthews, who's Jack's uncle.
So when Mom was sick, I just said I would do something, and I had no idea that I was going to ride my bike across the country.
John, who's doing part of the ride with Jack, did his cross-country trek in 2017. He's emotional now with his nephew following his path.
It's amazing. It's really inspiring.
The money that Jack raises on this ride will help lung cancer patients with things like getting to doctor's appointments and paying for food and utility bills.
There's a desperate need for people dealing with lung cancer who need basic support. So they just need someone to give them a hand, and we're just fortunate to do it.
Jack, who went to St. Joe's Prep, is a junior now at Notre Dame, dedicating part of his summer to the family's mission of helping patients.
I'm glad we're able to make that difference.
On their way to the shore where the 3,600-mile journey will end July 6th, they'll stop at some hospitals like Fox Chase Cancer Center that treat the patients they help.
You kind of see this beauty in a new light.
With a new appreciation for the land of the free and the home of the brave, as we honor American independence. Stephanie Stahl, CBS News, Philadelphia.
Coming to you from the innovative, immersive Hyundai Virtual Next Weather Sphere. This is Next Weather.
Well, hopefully you enjoyed the sunshine today, because when we say that, you know what comes next. Bill, that's the last thing we want to hear after a stormy week, right?
Yeah, it's been a stormy week for sure, and we will have that chance for storms tomorrow. We've kind of upped it to a next weather alert, but I don't see it as a widespread stormy day, and I'll explain more here coming up in just a second. Let's get a live look outside, different areas. Look at Bethlehem. Here's what it looks like down the shore, Stone Harbor. Same thing with Ocean City here in Philly. Beautiful night here out at Rittenhouse Square. Let me show you where we stand right now temperature-wise around the region. Of course, look live here out our window. It's a delightful early evening. We're in the mid-70s. Shore locations, 82 right now here in Millville. Philadelphia, right at 87, about where we should be for this time of year, mid-86, 87. I mean, a really seasonable day. Look at 87 in Allentown. Right now, the Poconos are into the upper 70s. A delightful early evening to get out and enjoy. We are not anticipating any rain for you at all, at least for now, as you mentioned. So let's talk about where we go from here. It is dry in our area as we speak. A few high clouds pushing on through. Dry for the rest of the evening. But by tomorrow, we're going to track a weather system that's going to pass by the north. Not tomorrow morning. Your drive in and out of work, going to be great. Taking the kids out tomorrow morning, maybe you have a tea time. All that is delightful. But we get into tomorrow afternoon. This time tomorrow, this is at 4 p.m. I'll advance it in a moment. And notice that we got just a couple areas of green and yellow popping up. It's one of those days where if we get things to lift, the heart of the system's well to the north. If we get things to generate, well, you get a storm and then you get what's called outflow, which are winds coming out of the storm that could help fuel some more storms. If we get more of that, we'll have more coverage. This map, 24 hours from now, shows very little around the area, and this will go through about sunset tomorrow. So once we get past, say, 9 o'clock tomorrow night, most of this will clear on out. But with that being said, if those storms get generating, there's enough energy there for them to be strong to severe, scattered strong to severe. So the Storm Prediction Center has put us in a level 2. That's a slight risk category, and kind of that's one of our standards. Once we're in a level 2 anywhere, we go on weather alert. I don't think all of you see storms but we will be tracking it for sure. Now, in terms of temperatures, out the door tomorrow morning, a pretty nice start. Temperature 65 in Trenton. We'll go right around 70 here for the city, 67 in Millville, 64 for the Lehigh Valley, and the lows. When we get lows in the mid-60s around the region, you know that the temperatures, the humidity levels are not going to be all that high. So that's how we start your day. Let me walk you through what we can expect. Bring the map back up here, and here's what we're looking at for your day tomorrow. It is going to be one of those days, come on, bring the map up here, where we have temperatures that are into the 80s to about 90 degrees. And there is the map coming up. 90 degrees here in Philadelphia, 86 in Sea Isle City, 90 in Millville. So we're going to be a little bit warmer than we were today. We're going to go 88 in Pottstown, 88 around Allentown. And last but certainly not least, taking a look here at your 7-day details. We are on that weather alert tomorrow for the potential of some stronger storms with a temperature of 90 degrees. Your 4th of July, fabulous. 86, low humidity. Your weekend is trending dry, unsettled weather as we get into next week. That's your weather forecast. We'll be right back.
Heart, hustle, home. CBS News, Philadelphia. We know this community by heart. CBS News, Philadelphia.
Now you can get your CBS Philadelphia news, weather, and live stream all in one place on the CBS News app. Download it free today. We want to get back to our breaking news right now that we are following. A small plane crash at Cross Keys Airport just outside Williamstown, New Jersey in Gloucester County. You're looking at the pictures right now of the area where the plane went down. We're still working to find out about any people on the plane other than the pilot who might have been hurt. But as you can see from this live picture, officials are on the scene. Cross Keys Airport is on Tuckahoe Road and is a privately owned airport. It is also a very popular place for